On this Thursday night, the personal information of millions of Alberta voters made public. The list allegedly obtained illegally before being posted online for all to see.
Whoever's responsible for this needs to be fired, they need to be fined, and potentially put in jail.
Fill up fast why the war in Iran is about to send gas prices even higher as the UN issues a dire warning about the Strait of Hormuz blockade. Fighting financial crimes, Ottawa's plans to create a new police agency. Plus, crying foul.
Save the Caps! Save the Caps!
Fears a Canadian sports team could soon head south.
Global National with Donna Friesen. Reporting tonight, Jeff Semple.
Good evening and thank you for joining us. We begin tonight in Alberta with concerns about the release of sensitive personal data. A voter list containing millions of names and home addresses was allegedly posted online by an Alberta separatist group. A court injunction ordered the group to remove a database from its website. Elections Alberta says it's trying to determine if the voter list was illegally obtained, and the RCMP has now launched an investigation. Our Bianca Millions has our top story tonight.
Joshua Paquette is one of nearly 3 million Albertans whose public information may have been accessed without his consent.
Whoever's responsible for this needs to be fired, they need to be fined, and potentially put in jail for this, because this is absolutely unacceptable.
A group called the Centurion Project published a website aimed at engaging voters to take part in a separation referendum they hope to get on the October ballot. Global News has confirmed the website was publicly accessible. It required users to create an account, but any email was accepted and no verification was necessary. The searchable database included names, addresses, and electoral districts of voters in the last provincial election.
Once they have that list, there's no way of controlling it. You know, there could be 50,000 copies of those lists right now circulating.
Global News attended an event held by the Centurion Project Wednesday night. One of its leaders, David Parker, told the crowd that they had a database of 3 million names that would help them find supporters. Edmonton Police Service also showed up to deliver a document from Elections Alberta. That led to an expedited court appearance Thursday morning where a judge granted Elections Alberta an injunction, forcing the website's database to be shut down to public access.
Where does the database, this information come from?
We've legally rented it.
Parker maintains they've done nothing wrong.
It's all public information, right? That's just, go on Google yourself, you'll probably find something, right? 411. Think of it like a phone book is the best way to think about it. And it's a phone book without phone numbers. It's literally name, address.
Elections Alberta confirmed that the electoral information was not obtained illegally and there was no system breach. However, making that information publicly available is what has Paquette worried.
Everyone should be nervous about this because there's no telling if they maybe backed up all this information and still have it so they could look up anyone and for whatever reason.
Under provincial law, only political parties, MLAs, candidates, and constituency associations can access the list, and only for purposes such as fundraising and recruiting members. Both the Centurion Project and the Republican Party of Alberta were listed in Thursday's court case, but no charges have been filed under the Elections Act. Bianca Millions, Global News.
And turning to breaking news now, the White House has just taken a big step towards reviving parts of the Keystone XL pipeline to transport Canadian crude across the border. President Trump has signed an order granting the cross-border permit. This new proposal involves a different route through the U.S. than the previous Keystone XL project, and analysts caution there are still a number of hurdles before the plan can proceed. Our Mackenzie Gray now on where the pipeline proposal goes from here.
A potential new Canadian oil pipeline has cleared a key hurdle from the U.S. government that plans to reuse some of the assets from the infamous Keystone XL project. Donald Trump signing a presidential permit to allow the Bridger pipeline to carry oil from Alberta to Wyoming.
We have pipelines going up, and by the way, they're way underground. They're not a problem. Nobody even knows they're there. It's so crazy.
The proposed pipeline would move 550,000 barrels of oil a day, 12% of what the oil patch currently produces, and would use already built sections of the Keystone XL pipeline in Canada.
This new permit that Trump is authorizing is for the southern side. It is on a different route from what Keystone XL did and goes down about 1,000 kilometers into Wyoming.
Prime Minister Justin.
But we have been here before. The first thing Donald Trump did as president in 2017 was approve the Keystone XL pipeline that Barack Obama had killed. Joe Biden followed suit, killing it again on his first day in office.
Slightly different than the last administration. They wouldn't sign a pipeline deal. They wouldn't approve anything having to do with the pipeline, and they're great. As opposed to trucking it or training it, they're great. American people want product here. They want.
The Prime Minister discussed this pipeline with the President in Washington last fall, but a new Canadian pipeline to the U.S. runs against what Trump has said before.
We don't need their oil and gas. We have more than anybody.
And what the Prime Minister's political and stated economic goals are.
This is what makes us different from the United States. This is what will make us more independent from the United States.
It's easier to build to the United States. It's easier to double down. They're making it easy and smooth, and we're making it hard on ourselves to build that pipeline to the BC coast.
The company that owns the pipeline, Southbow, told Global News the project is still in its early stages and it wouldn't be online until at least 2030, after the next presidential election, where a Democratic president could pull the plug on the project for a third time. Mackenzie Gray, Global News, Ottawa.
World oil prices briefly surged above $126 a barrel today. That's a 4-year high. It followed reports claiming U.S. President Trump is considering launching fresh military strikes on Iran. That country's supreme leader also issued a rare statement saying the U.S. has no place in the Persian Gulf and that Tehran plans to control the Strait of Hormuz moving forward. Heather Yourex-West reports from Washington.
Dire warnings of a global humanitarian crisis from the UN as a standoff between Iran and the US and Israel pushes global oil prices to a 4-year high.
These consequences are not cumulative, they are exponential. And the longer this vital artery is choked, the harder it will be to reverse the damage, and the higher the cost to humanity.
The UN Secretary General warning that if the Strait of Hormuz is not fully opened soon, 32 million people will be pushed into poverty. In a rare statement, Iran's supreme leader said his country planned to manage the critical oil choke point moving forward. The foreigners who greedily commit evil from thousands of kilometers away have no place in it, except in the depths of its waters.
It seems like the ceasefire itself is tenuous. There's a good chance that hostilities may break out and the fighting may continue.
On Capitol Hill, the U.S. Secretary of Defense seeking approval for $1.5 trillion in defense spending faced a second day of grilling about the war.
Iran's hardline regime remains in place. It still retains stockpiles of enriched uranium, and its nuclear program remains viable. Iran's military retains enough combat effectiveness to keep the conflict at an impasse.
President Trump has the courage, has had, unlike other presidents, to ensure that Iran never gets a nuclear weapon and that their nuclear blackmail never succeeds. We have the best negotiator in the world driving a great deal.
Speaking to reporters this afternoon, the U.S. president maintained negotiations were ongoing, saying Iran was, quote, dying to make a deal. Jeff?
Heather Yourex-West in Washington. Thanks, Heather. As a result of the conflict with Iran, gas prices across much of Canada are expected to climb even higher over the next couple of days. Prices in Vancouver reached $2.18 per litre this morning and are expected to rise another 5 cents tonight. Across the country, prices are now above $1.80 per litre, even in oil-rich Alberta. Analysts expect prices to reach all-time highs in the month of May, despite the federal government's tax break. Well, new numbers reveal Canada's economy was showing surprising signs of strength earlier this year. Stats Canada reports the economy grew by 0.2% in February and at a 1.6% pace overall in the first quarter. That growth comes after the economy contracted at the end of 2025. Among the most positive signs, Canadian manufacturing had its strongest month in 3 years, growing 1.8% in February despite U.S. tariffs. Canada has just been selected to host a first-of-its-kind bank aimed at helping this country and its NATO allies lower the cost of financing major military purchases. It's called the Defence, Security and Resilience Bank, and it could create thousands of jobs here in Canada. Our David Aiken joins us now from Ottawa. So, David, what will it take to make this bank a reality?
Well, Jeff, there's still a lot of work to do to create this new multinational bank. For one thing, Canada and several of its NATO allies have to agree to put up the money for this new bank, and they'll do that through legislation passed in each national legislature. But if or when that happens, the bank's headquarters will be here in Canada.
It's good news, it's progress, but it's not the end of a process.
When the process ends, that will mean jobs in Canada, an estimated 3,500 jobs for specialists in defense finance, information technology, and analysts who know the defense industry.
It's a testament to Canada's reputation, Canada's commitment, Canada's financial expertise.
The new bank will help governments and businesses in Canada and in NATO countries access cheap financing for military projects around the world. Projects that could be as varied as new weapon systems or the construction of new ports or lengthening runways.
It provides a much more efficient way of funding those new activities because you bring together the collective strength of a big number of countries. And this is a model that's used in the World Bank, for example.
Now, the Carney government has not yet said where this new bank's headquarters will be, but Montreal, Ottawa, Toronto, and Vancouver have all put their hands up to be the host. Jeff.
All right, David. Want to ask you as well about another bit of political news today. The Prime Minister just announced that North Vancouver Capilano MP Jonathan Wilkinson will be Canada's next ambassador to the European Union. Wilkinson, we know, had served previously under Justin Trudeau's cabinet as a natural resources and environment minister. But what does his resignation mean for the Liberals' newly minted majority government, David?
Well, Jeff, the Liberals have 174 seats, and you need 172 for a majority. Now, when Wilkinson quits, the Liberals will be at 173, but he's not the only Liberal quitting this summer. Toronto MP Nate Erskine-Smith will also be leaving as he turns to provincial politics, and that will put the Liberals right at 172, but that includes the Speaker, who normally does not vote except in a tie. So at that point, all 172 opposition MPs would be able to outvote 171 voting Liberals. Yet another but, an opposition MP is quitting this summer. Former New Democrat MP Alexandra Boularice is also leaving for provincial politics. Now, so long as all three leave while Parliament is on its summer recess, nothing much is going to come of this. So long as the Liberals call 3 by-elections before Parliament's return in late September, and then win at least 2 out of the 3. Jeff.
Thanks, David. Canada may soon be getting a new police organization. The federal government has proposed setting up a financial crime agency. It would be tasked with investigating crimes ranging from fraud to extortion to money laundering. High-level financial crimes have traditionally been handled by the RCMP, but the government says the sheer volume of cases demands a new approach. Our Jillian Piper joins us from Ottawa with the details of the plan. Jillian.
Jeff, Canadians are being targeted by scammers more than ever before, and to help fight back, Ottawa is trying to create a new law enforcement agency for the first time in decades. Originally promised by Justin Trudeau 5 years ago, the proposed financial crimes agency would have police powers to investigate fraud, money laundering, and corruption.
It's an overdue step. There's a lot to be encouraged about, even if you do need to see what happens when the rubber hits the road.
The spring economic statement shows Ottawa is planning to spend $352 million over 5 years, starting next fiscal year, to begin operations, followed by $82 million annually with the goal of prosecuting criminals and recovering some illicit funds.
Success metric is going to include get it back, not just file a charge.
Canadians reported losing more than $704 million to fraud last year, and nearly $44 billion went into money laundering and terrorist financing last year in Canada, according to the National Financial Intelligence Agency.
You can count on the fingers of one hand how many cases are successfully prosecuted a year. That's a problem by any metric.
The government says the agency will eventually be staffed by civilian personnel, but may need to initially lean on the Mounties. The public safety minister dismissing concerns the new agency is a critique of the RCMP's abilities.
This will complement certainly the work that we are going to be doing on laser sharp focus on financial crimes.
But there are concerns about jurisdictional overlap.
The Financial Crimes Agency has very overreaching authority under the legislation. And so there are some questions about how does that authority play with the existing authorities.
Legislation still needs to be passed in the House of Commons, Jeff, but with the Liberal majority, the government will likely be able to make the new agency a reality.
Jillian Piper in Ottawa. Thanks, Jillian. Calgary police made a heart-wrenching discovery this morning. The bodies of 2 young children were found inside a parked car. Police received a call just after 10 a.m. Homicide investigators responded, and 1 man has now been arrested. Police say they're still working to identify the 2 children and their parents. The fight to save a soccer club coming up. Why a Canadian city is in danger of losing its sports team to the U.S. Iran will be allowed to compete in World Cup games held in the U.S., despite the ongoing war in the Middle East. That is according to FIFA's president, speaking at the FIFA Congress being held in Vancouver. Iran is the only FIFA member nation not in attendance at that meeting after the Iranian delegation, which included a former senior member of the Revolutionary Guard, was denied entry into Canada. The IRGC is a listed terrorist entity.
Save the Caps! Save the Caps! Save the Caps!
Vancouver Whitecaps fans rallied outside that annual FIFA Congress this morning, worried about the team's future. Major League Soccer has reportedly received a formal offer to buy the team and move it to Las Vegas. The Whitecaps have been up for sale since late 2024, and the club's owners say there have been no viable offers that would keep the team in BC. The Caps have played in Vancouver since 1974 and joined the MLS in 2011. And sports history was made last night in Toronto. The city's new professional basketball team, the Tempo, took to the court for the first time for a preseason game. As Eric Sorensen reports, the team and its players are hoping to inspire new hoop dreams.
It's also new. New team gear just out of the boxes, a new fan spotting her first Tempo player.
Oh my God, it's Marina Mabry! Oh my God!
Looks like Marina Mabry. Players so recently arrived, most Canadians probably don't recognize them, like rookie Tioni Key.
I spent no time in Canada before this, but I'm loving it so far. Toronto's been amazing.
It's been amazing for fans, too, to finally have women's professional basketball in Canada.
It's just so nice, and for young girls who play basketball to be able to see the representation of women in sports.
It's been a whirlwind few weeks. A labor dispute in the WNBA delayed the Tempo, a brand new team, from drafting or signing any players until this month.
Top draft choice Kiki Rice was only selected in mid-April. A day later, a face familiar to Canadians, Kia Nurse, was signed.
I'm grateful for the opportunity to be given this platform for growing women's basketball in Canada.
So it was more than fitting. In the Toronto Tempo's first exhibition game ever, their first points came from Kia Nurse. A Canadian sports moment to remember.
Kia Nurse is someone who I watched growing up. To see her come back to Canada to play for us, I think it's awesome.
They're among the best basketball players in the world, and they've come to Canada to be part of something groundbreaking.
As soon as I said yes and signed my name on the dotted line, I got to be all for Canada and Toronto.
We're making history, aren't we? And that's pretty special because we get a whole country behind us.
And Canadians, especially young women, can discover role models, the best in the game, now closer to home.
Inspirations I didn't have when I was younger. It's just so cool to be able to look up to some of these women who I haven't seen before.
As others have said, if she can see it, she can be it. Eric Sorensen, Global News, Toronto.
The British Prime Minister under pressure. Up next, the plan to tackle anti-Semitism after a stabbing attack in London. The UK has raised its terrorism threat level to severe after a stabbing attack yesterday in London that left 2 Jewish men in hospital. Today, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer announced his government will increase security for Jewish communities and introduce new laws to protect them. As Redmond Shannon reports, Starmer faces growing criticism for how he's handled a rise in anti-Semitism.
Keir Starmer, Jew harmer!
Keir Starmer, Jew harmer. The chant from dozens of Jewish Londoners as the British Prime Minister visits paramedics who responded to Wednesday's knife attack. The Hatzolah medical charity itself a target of arson in recent weeks. part of a series of attacks on the Jewish community of northwest London that have ramped up since the start of the US-Israeli war on Iran.
I want to leave. I don't feel safe anymore. I'm not sure there's much future for my children here, actually, but that's the reality of it.
I teach in a Jewish girls' school just up the road. The girls were quite hysterical when they heard.
Starmer later laid out actions his government will take.
We will strengthen the visible police presence in our Jewish communities. We will increase our investment in those Jewish security services.
Starmer says he will look to outlaw anti-Semitic state actors, including Iran's Revolutionary Guard Corps. The IRGC is already illegal in Canada.
Because we know for a fact that they want to harm British Jews.
He signalled a crackdown on how pro-Palestinian demonstrations could be policed and asked all non-Jews to call out anti-Semitism.
To open their eyes to Jewish pain, Jewish suffering, and Jewish fear.
British media have named the suspect in the stabbings that took place here as Essa Suleiman. The Somali-born British citizen was referred to the UK counter-terrorism programme in 2020. That referral case was closed in the same year. The programme deals with thousands of cases annually. Redmond Shannon, Global News, London.
Up next, why this Canadian artwork is being removed from the heart of San Francisco. Well, take a look at this. A bus ride took a dangerous turn near Paris today, veering off the road and into the River Seine. The bus driver, a trainee, apparently hit a parked car before plunging into the river. More than 90 firefighters, divers, and police officers responded, and 4 people had to be rescued. An investigation is now underway. Crews in San Francisco are dismantling one of the city's most controversial landmarks. The Vaillancourt Fountain is a huge concrete sculpture created by a Canadian artist. It's been a fixture there for more than 5 decades. Mike Armstrong reports.
It was controversial from day one, and it's now coming down. The Vaillancourt Fountain is an abstract brutalist behemoth that's loomed over San Francisco's waterfront since 1971. For the Quebec artist who created it, it's the most important work of his career. Armand Vaillancourt's son says the family found out by accident. The fountain wasn't part of the plans for the park's renovation.
My sister in California, she sent us one of the articles with that plan, and the fountain wasn't there.
Vaillancourt's father is now 96 years old. Alexis, an artist himself, speaks for the family. They've followed the debate over the fountain's future for years. Knowing what might happen, they braced for it, but it still hurts.
Yeah, I saw that before going to sleep a couple of days ago, and yeah, I took a minute and it was
not easy
to see it. It's always harder, you know.
Now, supporters of the fountain argue it's a bold example of modernist public art, reflecting the futuristic architectural trends of the era. Critics say it's too industrial and harsh and out of place near the waterfront. Well, whatever one's aesthetic taste, it's become a cultural landmark. Unfortunately, the city says the fountain deteriorated to the point it was a danger, and fixing it would have cost millions, although aesthetics may have played a role.
You know, this is a pretty ugly fountain. I think everyone can agree on that.
After a prolonged legal battle, San Francisco did agree to dismantle and store the fountain for up to 3 years, in the hope a new use somewhere can be found. Mike Armstrong, Global News, Montreal.
And that is Global National for this Thursday night. I'm Jeff Semple. Tonight's Your Canada, these ice explorers in Alberta's Athabasca Glacier. Thanks for watching. Colleen Christie will be at the anchor desk with you tomorrow. Have a great night.